Hey, what's up guys? BJ Dell back with a new storytime video all about the time that my wife's celebrity childhood crush got ruined for her. It's a super funny story, so listen along as I draw a cute little tooth today. So, if you want to hear and see that, keep watching. Hey, what's up guys? Back with a new story time. All about the time that my wife's celebrity childhood crush was ruined. Such an awful, but hilarious story. So this happened back in 2011 and it occurred at Chicago Comic-Con. Now we're from Northwest Ohio, as I've said before in some of the videos, and we decided to take an hour trip up north, park the car, and take an Amtrak train over to Chicago. It was about a 4-hour train ride. And I tell you what, if you guys have not taken a train someplace, it is awesome. Seriously, I cannot recommend it enough. You just get to sit 4 hours, do nothing. You don't have to worry about traffic. You don't have to worry about paying attention to the road. So relaxing. I loaded up movies on the iPad. We watched a couple going over, a couple coming back. And seriously, highest recommendation possible. If you guys have not tried this, look into it if it's available in your area. So much stress relieved from, having to hop in a car and drive over. So we headed over to Chicago. Now, the thing is, my wife, not a huge comic book fan. I know years ago she would never thought stepping foot in a Comic-Con would be a thing she would ever do. But of course now, over the years, things have changed and Comic-Cons are more pop culture cons. And the whole reason why I got her to go was because the Boondock Saints were going to be there. And I am a huge Boondock Saints fan. Sean Patrick Flanery and Norman Reedus and Rocco, just absolutely love the Boondock Saints movies. And this was the same time, too, the Walking Dead Season 1 had just ended, so they were having a Walking Dead panel there, too. Pretty much all the cast members were there. Of course, when Season 1 came out, it was popular, but it wasn't the breakout pop culture phenomenon that it is today. So that was kind of cool getting to see them, too. Like I said, huge Boondock Saints fan, but I love Norman Reedus. I've loved him for years, just being a Guillermo del Toro fan. He was in Mimic and Blade 2 as well, and then also being in the Boondock Saints, so it was going to be super cool to see him. So we decided to head on over to Chicago. We get to the hotel, which was actually connected to the convention center. Basically, I booked this hotel just because, taking the train over, we weren't going to have a car there. I didn't want to rent a car once we got there for, just the short weekend, and didn't want to have to rely on taxis to get back and forth from a hotel to the convention center. So decided, hey, let's just book the one that's connected to it. There was the tunnel that led across, over the street, and it just made it super convenient. So, the thing I didn't think about at the time, which was actually a plus, was of course, all the celebrities and the stars that were booked at the convention were staying at the same hotel. So that kind of worked out for us too. So that was cool. But the first day we got there, instead of heading straight over to the convention center, we decided to go down to the hotel bar, have a couple drinks first. And we were sitting down there and we're talking to a gentleman sitting next to us. He was actually in town for a coin convention, and he was from Ohio too. So we were having a talk, about all things Ohio, which if you're from Ohio, that's super exhilarating and fun. But hey, it was small talk. So, but as we were talking to him, I kind of looked over his shoulder as these people walked into the bar, and a guy and two women sat down at the end of the bar. And after looking down again, I realized it was Rocco from the Boondock Saints. So David was down at the end of the bar, looked over at my wife and said, "Hey, it's David, Rocco down at the bar." So he ordered some drinks, and I motioned to the bartender as he was getting the drinks around, and he came down, and I told him, "Hey, go ahead and put their round on my tab." And he said, "Are you sure?" I said, yeah, go ahead. So my thing is, huge fan. I I know it's got to be annoying when you're a celebrity. I hear, interviews and podcasts and stuff like that to where, you hear these stars and celebrities talk about how they have no privacy, how, people are just constantly coming up to them, feeling like they're almost in the public domain as far as, being open to interaction with the public. And I didn't want to be that guy that just walked down to the end of the bar and said, "Hey, Rocco, what's up, man? Can I get your autograph? Can I get a picture?" He was there with two women, and he was obviously there on his own time, and it wasn't at the convention, and I didn't want to approach him like that. So I thought, hey, let me just buy him some drinks, if, I can meet him that way or whatever. So he went ahead and pulled out his wallet to pay when the bartender sat down the drinks, and I could see the bartender kind of motion, a no motion to him, and he kind of looked confused. Then he pointed down to the end of the bar. And so then eventually he got up and walked down and said, "Hey, I just went to pay for my drinks." And the bartender said, "You already paid for them. Why'd you do that?" I said, "Because I know who you are. That's why I paid for them." He's like, "What do you mean you know who I am?" I said, "I know who you are. You're actually one of the reasons why I actually got to come to this convention." I said, "My wife's not a big comic book fan, but when she heard that the Boondock Saints cast was going to be here, she said, let's go. So you're actually one of the reasons why I got to come in the first place." So I thought, hey, the least I can do is pay you back with a round of drinks. He's like, "Yeah, but that's the thing. You didn't just buy me a round of drinks. You bought my girlfriend a round of drinks, and you bought my girlfriend's daughter drinks too. Like, you bought all three of us drinks." I said, "That's cool. I don't care." Like I said, if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't have got to come here. My wife would have vetoed it. So that's my way I can say thank you and pay you back. He's like, "Well, thank you. And do you care? Like, do you want to take some pictures real quick? Is that cool?" So like him asking us, like, "Is it cool if we take pictures?" Like, yeah, it's cool. So he sat there, talked with us for a little bit, took some pictures. Just super down to earth guy, like very, very awesome. He asked us if we were coming to the convention the next day and if we got the photo ops with the Boondock Saints. I said, "Yeah, we sure did." He said, "Cool." He said, "Well, once you get the picture, come up to the table." He said, "Just grab one of the attendants. You don't have to wait in line. Just tell them I said to pull you up and bring it down to me. I'll go ahead and sign it for you for free." He said, "I don't know about the boys. If they will, I can't speak for them, but hey, you bought my drinks. The least I can do is sign your picture too." So, I thanked him, and he went back and sat down, and it was just like really awesome, meeting somebody that you're a fan of and not having that, fandom crushed around you if they're a prick or something like that. It was kind of nice not having that feeling of, oh, I like this guy, but now I don't. That story, though, is soon to come and involves my wife. So keep listening. So we went to the convention the next day and got to meet Rocco at the table. He pulled us up and, signed our stuff. And we got to meet him and talk to him again. And once again, just absolutely super nice guy. Walked around the convention for a while, met some more people. This is one of those times, too, when something happens that just kind of becomes an inside joke for years and years and years. One that me and my wife share is one of the funniest things that happened at the convention was Bruce Campbell was there, and I haven't been to a convention since with him, so I don't know if this is like normal, if it happens every time, but Bruce was sitting at a table doing autographs, and of course everyone outside of the line walking past had their cameras, their phones, trying to take pictures, and Bruce had like a whole crew of staff and security that had these almost like protest signs. So like these huge signs with sticks on them that just said "no photos, no photos, no photos," like over and over again, and would hold them in front of people's cameras and phones when they would try to take a picture. And this was the only person that this was going on for. So I don't think it was like an overall convention thing. I think it was a Bruce Campbell thing. And it was so funny seeing these, huge guys like trying to wave these things around. And it's remained like an inside joke between me and my wife for years. Like if we go to, take a picture of each other or out, filming something, and one of us will act like we've got, one of these huge signs and wave it in front of the camera. "No photos, no photos." And of course, people don't know what we're talking about, but we laugh hysterically, and, it's one of those things. So, so later that night, then the next night we went back to the hotel, went to the hotel bar again after the convention, and this night was hopping. Like the day before when we were there, it was just basically us, the coin guy, and Rocco and his girlfriend and his girlfriend's daughter. This night, though, was after the con, so there were so many people in there. It was ridiculous. It was packed. It was, pretty much shoulder to shoulder. And we were up at the bar getting drinks, and I look over, and standing right next to us at the bar is Anthony Michael Hall. So Anthony Michael Hall, for any chick growing up in the 80s, was pretty much like that childhood crush. The poster boy for every John Hughes movie, 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, the list goes on and on. It was just crazy to be standing next to him. Of course, I was a fan from those movies, but even Edward Scissorhands, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, him being in that. And later on in his career, we were both huge fans of The Dead Zone. I think that was on USA. And, we watched that series, so absolutely loved him. One of our favorite actors. And like I said, with Rocco, I didn't want to just go down to the end of the bar, walk up to him when he's having a conversation with two women and, feel like I'm invading his space. Anthony Michael Hall, though, legitimately was not talking to anybody. He was standing at the bar waiting for a drink. We were standing at the bar waiting for a drink. He didn't have anyone else with him. So I went ahead and said, "Hey, Anthony Michael Hall, huge fan. Do you mind if I get a picture with you and my wife?" I didn't really even want a picture with him because I knew, just how big of a fan my wife was. And I didn't want to impose too much by getting all these pictures and having somebody else have to, take the camera and take a picture. I thought, let's just make it easy. I know how much my wife loves him. Let's just get a quick photo, get it done so I don't feel like I'm putting him out. And he was super nice about it. He's like, "Oh, yeah, sure, no problem." So I went ahead, pulled out my phone, and went to take a picture. And of course, worst possible time, the phone started messing up. The camera app started messing up. I was sitting there fiddling around with it, and I could just see on my wife's face, her face turned, and it was like that hurry up and take the picture, face. And I'm trying, so I'm sitting there, finally get the picture taken. And I could just see her face was just like, "Oh my God." Finally take the picture, we thank him. And she grabs my arm and just pulls me away. And I'm like, "I am sorry. I was trying to take the picture. I don't know what to tell you." I thought she was mad at me because here I am embarrassing her in front of Anthony Michael Hall. That was not the case, though. No, as I was messing with the phone, I did not see this because I was looking down at the phone in, just mad hurry of trying to get this to work. As I was doing that, I guess my wife's face dropped because Anthony Michael Hall was actually running his hands and his fingers up and down her back and whispering into her ear, "You're such a pretty lady. You're such a pretty lady. Such a pretty lady," over and over again while I'm messing with the phone. And it creeped my wife out. It wasn't like one of those, I guess, like my celebrity crushes hitting on me, I'm flattered things. It was, "Oh my God, this is like super weird, super creepy. Get me out of here. What are you doing?" She was super weirded out by the whole thing. And then she told me afterwards, and she said, I'm sure you didn't hear it because he was like right next to my face, whispering it into my ear, and just him running his fingers up and down my back. Oh, it gave me the chills, and it was just creepy. And I'll put the picture up. Like, you can even see there's almost like a leer that he has. It's really, really weird. So that picture still exists, and I love having that picture because if you're married, if you've been with somebody for a long time, honestly, marriage only exists so you can annoy your spouse. As far as I see, that's one of the best parts of marriage and being with somebody for an extended point of time, is that you can just do things to annoy your spouse. And it's like one of the joys that you get from marriage. And I love it. So I will bring up that picture all the time. I'll talk about that picture all the time. I'll randomly text her that picture. I'll randomly just have it laying on the counter. I'll randomly just put it here, put it there. And I love it because it annoys her so much. And that's one of the best things about marriage. So that's my story, all about the time that my wife's childhood celebrity crush got ruined for her. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. As always, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. If you found today's video funny, if it made you laugh, make sure you smash that like button. Also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications so you can get alerted when I post new videos. So now going forward, I want to try something a little bit different with these storytime videos. One thing I've loved so much about this channel so far and starting the Facebook group Keep Creating is kind of the sense of community that it brings, and seeing your guys' artwork is awesome, but I want to include you in these storytime videos too. So I've said before, I'm a fan of podcasts. One of my favorite ones is My Favorite Murder, and they have what's called the mini-sodes, to where they have listeners send in stories. It can be hometown murders that they do, or stuff that they find in walls. There's so many different topics that they cover, but I want to do that with this channel. So on these storytime videos going forward, I've still got hundreds that I can tell, but I want to start including your guys' stories too. So if you've got something funny or interesting that you think that people would get a kick out of listening to, send them to me, and you might have them included on one of these videos going forward. Hop on over to my website, bjdell.com. Click on the contact me page and send me your story. You might hear it on one of these future episodes. I look forward to seeing what you guys send in. Speaking of what you guys do, like I said, Keep Creating a Learn, Draw, Share art community. I love seeing the artwork on there. Hop on over to Facebook and join if you haven't. The link is in the description below. People are posting new work all the time, and it's become a really fun place to stop by and share your work. So as for me, besides the website, I can be found online, BJ Dell on Instagram and Twitter. So until next time, keep creating.